Let us go into the magical world of Congos. Not the River Congo, not the Democratic Republic of Congo, nothing like that. Dreadlock Congos. Or more easily described as conjoined dreadlocks, or dreadlocks go together. I have absolutely no idea why they're called Congos. If you know, let me know and share the knowledge. Okay, what are Congos? Well, you know the dreadlocks are when the hair knots together and it goes into a tube. Congos are when the hair in two separate or more dreadlocks locks together and makes a fatter tube. It's obvious that to form a dreadlock, hair knots together and dreadlocks are made out of hair, and then two dreadlocks and therefore lock together. An example of Congo is here. This used to be 4 separate dreadlocks, as you can see here. 4 separate tips still on it because they haven't been cut off. And now is one thicker, fatter dreadlock. That is a quad Congo. I have no idea, I don't think there's a special word for it. How do they form? They normally form from the root, but not exclusively. If you have younger, softer dreadlocks, you can find that 2 dreads might suddenly have a bit of a sticking together midway along, but normally it happens at the root. So you have 2 dreadlocks that are next door to each other, and maybe they already share some hairs because the sectioning isn't perfect, but you'll find that suddenly 2 dreadlocks are kind of stuck together at the root, and if you don't pull those apart, as the dreadlock then grows, instead of continuing to grow 2 dreadlocks out of 2 sections, if the sections merge together, they will form 1 dreadlock. Or in this case, this was 4 sections, and I didn't pull them apart, so it grew out and eventually became 1 dreadlock, and this is the 4 original dreadlocks. Some people experience the Congo growing up the dreadlock, so they start out with 2 dreads, and it actually Congos up, but I haven't seen this. I've only seen it when the roots lock together, and then slowly as the dreadlock grows out, it forms the new single dreadlock. I haven't had it where 2 existing mature dreadlocks have locked together because they're too tough. I think it's more likely to happen that way if you have younger dreadlocks. So let's talk about if you don't want Congos. People with young dreads, so they've just started them, you know, maybe you're a few months in, you've just sectioned them, so you've already decided how thick you want the dreadlocks and how many dreadlocks you want, so you're probably not then thinking, oh, I wish I could Congo them and make them fatter, because if you wanted that, you'd have probably just made thicker sections when you started. So some people with young dreadlocks are plagued with them knotting together by themselves. And even more so if you've gone the natural or neglect route, because they're going to be Congoing and locking together all the time, so basically you have to get used to pulling, ripping, pulling them apart. You'll find that normally it's easier to do after you've got out of the shower, so you get out of the shower and be finding, oh, these 2 have started to knot together, I will have to pull them apart, and you do that. It's less painful and easier to do when they're wet. You don't need to do it every single time you get out of the shower. They don't grow that fast. You won't find that if you leave it for a week that you'll come back and find this. No, they grow out pretty slowly, so it's easier if you do it every time because then you stay on top of it, but don't worry too much about it. I used to do it whilst watching movies because my hands are free and just playing, but I don't pull them anymore, as you can see. It's easier not to pull them. If you're having lots of trouble and stressing out because it's doing it all the time, don't worry about it too much because it slows down. It doesn't do it so much when they get older. When the dreadlocks are young and soft, they're more likely to have lots of loose hairs and they will link together and Congo together. As the dreadlocks get older, I had to encourage some of mine to actually Congo, but once they've started, they're all over the place. If it's a problem with the sectioning, so if you look at if you've started your dreadlocks with the back combing and twist and rip, and you look at the root of your dreadlock and the sectioning has hairs going to multiple dreadlocks, and then every time you wash they're sort of knotting that way, and you don't want them to do that, it might just be easier to cut the between the sections. It's kind of a drastic measure, and I wouldn't do it if there were lots of hairs because you're going to weaken the dreadlock because there won't be as many hairs in the dreadlock still connecting with your scalp. But if it's really bothering you, either cut them or pull them individually. You know, it might take a while to go through your whole head and separate all the dreadlocks off completely, but you either sit down and do it all at once, or you spend every time you get out of the shower having to pull them. But then again, it depends on your hair type and depends how much it bugs you, because if some people's hair doesn't really seem to do it so much, whereas if you've got really curly hair, it will be going insane. So that's mainly for people who don't want them to Congo. You're basically just going to have to rip them, and if your dreadlocks feel like Congoing, they are going to do it, and it is going to be an active, ongoing process until they really start to mature and harden up before it slows down. I will say that it does get easier once they're mature. Not only do they not seem to Congo so much when they're matured, or not so much that they take longer to really start to Congo when they're matured, because the dreadlocks already sort of sat in place, and the hairs on your head have sort of grown upwards. So what originally started off as a spider web of hairs all across your scalp, as the dreadlocks grow out, they've kind of got lifted up into the dreadlock, so then when you pull, you're actually ripping all those hairs, whereas when they're new baby dreadlocks, you'll find that it stays as a sort of spider web matted to your head, and when you pull, you don't pull down that far. So when they get older and longer, they grow outwards, and you can really pull those. And also when they mature, the hairs from your head are getting pulled out, and then you can rip them easier. And also the dreadlocks are mature and tougher, so they're a bit like rope, and you can really pull them without having too much scalp pain. I'm going to talk now about if you want Congos. You might find that when your dreadlocks have matured and tightened, they're not actually as thick as you thought they were going to be, or you've changed your mind about how thick you want them to be. First off, it's a lot easier to Congo them than it is to un-Congo them. So if you Congo many together, it's not recommended to try and then cut them apart if you decide it's too fat, because it's difficult to cut them exactly back into 4, and if you're not careful you'll end up cutting off whole chunks of dreadlock, and the dreadlocks you're left with will be weaker because you won't have cut them perfectly, and you'll have severed links between the root and up here. Because if you don't cut them back into how they were sectioned before, so if I didn't cut this back into roughly exactly the 4 it was before, I'm not going to have hairs running from here down to the tip anymore. They're kind of going to be cut across, and it's not going to be as strong. You know, if you took a rope and cut it down the middle, you originally had the strength coming from, it was being lots of strands that are continuously going from one end to the other, and even though they're going like this, if you're cutting down the middle, it's not going to be continuous anymore, and it's going to lose structural integrity and such. So if you decided you want to Congo, the easiest thing to do is just leave them. Don't pull anymore. This is the best way, because then dreads that are close to each other and naturally want to Congo are going to do it. Certain dreads that sort of rub against each other are going to be more likely to Congo than others, and you might have to sort of force other dreads into it. The various ways of doing this, some people tie them together or sew them together. I wouldn't do this because I don't like to put anything into the dreadlocks that you can't easily get back out, which is why I don't recommend rubber bands, elastic bands. You put an elastic band on to hold 2 together. You can get loose hair sort of matting over the top of the elastic band, and then you have to really dig the band out. But I have used hair bubbles, little black elastic thick thing. It's not an elastic band, sort of it's not a full-blown hair band, but a little elastic thing. It's thick. And take the dreadlocks that I want to encourage to Congo, and then wrap that around the root of those dreadlocks, and then leave it in there for maybe a week when I'm washing them, and then take it out. And if it's not started to Congo properly yet, I'll put it back in, but I want to make sure that I'm taking it out and putting it back in regularly, because you don't want the thing to get stuck under matted dreads. So you can leave it in for a long time, as long as you take it out and put it back in to make sure it's not getting locked down. And then once the Congo started to form, you can take it out, because it should do the rest itself. That's basically it for Congos. It's just what happens when the dreadlocks decide, oh, I want that hair too, and start sucking each other. together. If you're having any other particular Congo issues and I haven't covered them in this video, or you want to know some more about Congos, on my blog I have a section on Congos. I think it's called Congos, Conjoined Dreads. The link to my blog is in the description, and you can click right hand side has all the little headers for the articles, and you can click the Congo article and read about there, and otherwise you can leave me a message here or there and I will do my best to answer your Congo questions. Thank you.